Once upon a time, there were two best friends. One of them had a computer and the other one sucked.
What's up? it's me, your favorite gay guy.
And me.
My favorite gay guy.
It's the villains. We're back. We're doing a chillin' today.
Oh, hello, dog.
On account... What the fuck?
You didn't close the door all the way.
God damn.
Anyway, you talk and I'll bring the dog back to the dog.
So we're doing a chillin' today on account of the fact that Elden Ring got released. And honestly, I don't know why you're here listening to this when you could be out there playing the Elden Ring DLC.
So here's what we were actually going to talk about.
Because frankly, you don't need to be here. Like there's
no, don't tell them
wild, untamed Elden Ring DLC.
For one, they're not here.
Flowing free in the fields.
They're never here. That's the issue. That's why we've had this channel for 7 years. That for 8 years, and we have 150 subscribers.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, we were talking about this after dinner tonight. What things that we've recorded, whether in the past on a different channel or never made it to air, what series do you think kind of describes us genuinely as people the best? Like, we can both agree for you, it's the Silent Hill playthrough on the Shining Finger Films. Well, technically on here too. We brought it into throwback tapes.
We did. That one. I think at least most of it did.
I think all of it did. There's never been a time where we've recorded where you didn't drop your phone.
It's what I do.
You know, that's fair. You can't be upset about that. It's your human nature.
You know, it's part of my talent.
You are like a scorpion in a Navajo fairy tale.
So, yeah, my answer to that was definitely going to be the Silent Hill playthrough, and it's not. So tell them what yours is, and then I'll tell them.
I don't know what mine is.
Okay, so
I think it's either Sacred Stones or the first white randomizer Nuzlocke, but I don't actually know. It could also be Cluster Truck.
Yeah, that one, I might put that one for you. But, so I'll tell you why it is the Silent Hill 2 playthrough for me. Anyone who's ever done a Let's Play can tell you that there is a almost overwhelming, or like streamed on Twitch or done any of that. There's almost an overwhelming
urge.
It's not an urge. It's not a compulsion. It's something threatening. It's something imposing. It's a
threat.
You want to be funny, right?
Expectation.
Yeah, I guess expectation.
Yeah.
Of just being funny, right?
Yeah.
And I took to solo Let's Plays actually fairly well and fairly easily, because that...
Look how good my leg looks, dude.
Is just what my brain does.
Yeah, I mean, you're a monologuer. You're a storyteller.
So, like,
you're Dan Cook.
That series...
You're an innovator.
Gave people, like, insight into, like, the way that my mind just processes the fucking world.
Which is comedy.
I am incapable of not making a joke out of things that are just... not funny. And I don't mean not funny in the way that it's like, this is serious, we can't be funny about this.
Not designed to be comedic.
It's like there is literally nothing funny about that. And my brain's like, but how could it be?
Yeah, like the whole joke, like for one, your Ford Corolla, like outside of the blatant misinformation because it's a Toyota, like...
But that's the joke.
Yeah, like the thing is that's like a complete non-joke, but you drilled it in so hard. And the reason that's one of my favorite Let's Plays on any channel we've ever had is because the fact that your ex-girlfriend is your car somehow, like, it's not funny. It's a non-joke, but you just beat it. You beat me down with it until it's fucking funny.
But, like, that's just me fucking walking around taking in shit. Now, mind you, in my everyday life, I shut my fucking mouth, right? Like, I don't have to be in a workplace doing that. But there are times where it just, like, I can't fucking not say it. even though I know that, like, I probably shouldn't, I'll preface the goddamn thing and be like, I can't not make this observation right now, right at this moment. Like, I have to fucking make it. So that really was it. That was the Silent Hill 2. It really encapsulated, like,
well, what's even
my inner
even
thoughts.
funnier is the time period in which we recorded it is when I would say you and I were the most us.
Yeah.
Like, while we had gone through some things in our personal lives, we hadn't gone through too much and lost the sparkle.
Well, yeah, I mean,
in our lives yet.
Like the strain of adulthood wasn't fully upon us.
We hadn't been beaten down by responsibility yet.
Like, you know, I mean, obviously, even back then I had bills to pay.
Like, the thing is, I say this every time we talk about our, like, maturation of comedy and just content creation.
Yeah.
I think in a vacuum we're funnier now. Like, like, our actual jokes and comedic styles have been honed to a fucking fine edge. Like, I don't think in a vacuum we'll ever be funnier now. However, I think my overall comedy peak was back in, like, 2019, 2018. Like, I would say, I think the singular funniest thing you have ever done was the Silent Hill 2 playthrough. Because that's you. That is the most perfect capture of who you are at that time.
It was really unfiltered. It was really unfiltered.
It was fucking unhinged. And half the time, I'm sitting in the back, laughing silently with my face in a pillow.
Yeah, because you were in the room.
Because it was your playthrough, and I didn't want to interrupt your playthrough.
Oh my goodness.
So, what video do you think it is for me?
All right, so it has to either be something in Fire Emblem or something in Cluster Truck. Because Cluster Truck was a breakdown. It was like you legitimately, like, broke as a person. But it's kind of, you know, it's like when you crack like an egg, like, the real stuff that you're made of inside comes out. You know what I mean?
Well, like, again, we discovered later on that those were, like, actual manic episodes.
Like, Wild Boy Miguel. I mean, just absolutely out of nowhere, turning into this
Bird.
Cretaceous era creature.
I still think my personal favorite moment of what the fuck that I have, in that I think it was episode 14, I literally named it Bird Noises, in which I'm taking a jump and I'm like, woo! I sound like a fucking air raid siren.
I mean, there was all sorts of shit. You were, like, hunting the fucking mosquitoes like a panther.
That was Fire Emblem.
Was that Fire Emblem?
That was Fire Emblem.
That was why I said Fire Emblem was possibly the other one. But specifically the moment in Fire Emblem was when you had retried the same level, like, 4 times.
That was the same session with the Jungle Panther.
And just kept getting I'm pretty sure it was the same character killed. I think it was your priest. And we were doing, like, a hardcore run, so, like, you had to keep restarting because you needed your healer.
Well, no. So that was in Sacred Stones.
It was Sacred Stones, okay.
But that was different. There was definitely one time I kept... Because we did an Iron Man run in Path of Radiance, in which if someone died, they were just dead.
Yep.
Unless it was one of our
pre-agreed upon.
I say pre-agreed upon, but we added that, like, a quarter through the series.
We did.
You know, maybe the only other one I would say is me truly, genuinely captured as a person was Galgun.
That's a fucking... I haven't thought about Galgun.
So Galgun is one of the few
now, I think,
series that I haven't rewatched. For one, because it's a fucking ecchi game, and I usually...
Yeah.
Like, I usually watch our videos at work, and I don't think I should be watching that at work. It's why I haven't rewatched Mirror. And also because the finale's gone. But, yeah, it's... not because I am actually some weirdo hentai pervert in real life, but because, like, when I'm at like truly like outside of my head, right? I'm a quip master. Like or like I will just find something, latch onto it, and beat you down with it.
What is it? Was it like the Kurt spell intro?
Oh, yeah.
I remember the Kurt spell. That might actually...
Look at those bazongas!
Just the raw, like... Because that was a moment, right? That was a moment where...
That was a very genuine moment.
We have... I'm gonna say characters, right?
Yeah.
Like, we do specific bits that is just in alignment with what we do on the channel.
Yeah, like how we kind of portray ourselves.
Well, and that's for a very specific reason, is because there's actually, like, you know, cataloged methods of duo comedy, right? And so we fit the roles for the scene appropriately to make it as funny as we can.
Yeah,
right?
well, and like you mentioned it before in Pokemon, in the last session. In real life, I do follow stoicism. Like, like I'm funny, but I'm not that outlandish.
Mm-hmm. But in the Kurt spell intro, okay, there was about a 2-minute period where I was like, "Oh my god, I've lost control of this person. Like, I am not in control of this scenario in any way, shape, or form. Anything could happen, and I'm scared." Like, you were just so like there was a joy in your eyes that was frightening. So I'll throw that one out as a contender. I'll throw that one out. Not that I think that is respective of you as a person, right? I don't think that, like...
But that was, like, a very genuinely, like, completely out of, like no performance.
I was like,
me.
This is not a
like,
character.
That's not a bit. Like, this is me.
He's really into this at this very moment.
Well, so that's why I actually... You know what? No. Higurashi.
Yeah.
The second half of Higurashi is me at my most genuine. Because that wasn't me doing a bit. That was me actually going fucking insane. Or that one episode of Radiant Dawn in which I took off, like, all my clothes. Like, fucking actually had, like, a mental... Like, I had a genuine mental breakdown from how frustrated I was. Stripped into my boxers.
Now... the most genuine comedic moment, I think, for the both of us, not just as one of us, but for the both of us as a duo, that was unfortunately not caught on film, was when we played through the Pokemon co-op.
Yeah.
Together, just because we weren't recording at the time. We just decided to download.
Well, we were still I was still living in your home,
like a
when
co-op
I first moved out here.
ROM hack and just play through it, right? Just have some fun, and it was so representative of both of our like friendship and our lives, and the way in which luck plays such a factor in you and I's lives. Because I've said it before.
I've said dried tomato soup in my mustache.
I've said it before like 100 fucking times. Now I gotta check my mustache. Fuck. But like
that's pimple. Never mind.
I'm really lucky. I've had a lot of like luck in my life. I've just been I hesitate to say blessed because I'm not really a religious person.
You've
but
been
like
fortunate.
Very fortunate. Like sometimes the amount of luck that I have is uncanny.
Privileged, perhaps. White.
Versus you,
who is fucking scrapped for everything.
Because like in Pokemon, like you were such a better Pokemon player. I don't know what they're fucking called. I'm not gonna say Pokemon trainer, but like at the game specifically, playing Pokemon, you are very skilled and very knowledgeable. And you were just struggling the whole
I was fighting
way
for every
through.
step I
He was
took.
clawing his way to the finish line. And I was over there just, like, riding the carousel. Like, nonchalant, no hands, going in blind, and things were just fucking working out for me. But that was honestly some of the most fun that I've had in my entire life was playing through
That's
that.
not the most like glaring example of we live in a society because I'm not a white man.
Like that was, I mean, I had some Pokemon privilege. I really did.
Privilege.
It was.
Where's my Fourth Amendment mon rights?
And like, you know, it's one of those things where like you don't normally get to see the privilege that you have in life. And when you do see the privilege that you have in life, you're not supposed to enjoy it.
My biggest privilege is that I'm able to walk around at night unharassed.
Right, you're supposed to actively like want the world to be fair and like justice to prevail and all of that, right? But in that game of Pokemon, I got to enjoy that privilege fully. I got to like play that game and be like, this is really nice.
Well, so what's crazy is that like, so we talked about this in our last white randomizer session. Like, me playing like Showdown or like an actual like battle is totally different than what happens when I play in game. Like, it is, and even just for the channel, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to see it firsthand of, oh, how is this happening to only you?
Like, he really does. He, like, a lot of people like to pretend that it's only them that has bad luck. And honestly, Miguel is the only one who can take that belt home. Like, I really wish we had the footage. It was tragic. I mean, people would fucking make documentaries off of this stuff. Like, it was just the right amount of true crime.
Well, so, you know what it was? It followed the script of like a BET movie in which the like hardworking but less like talented son of, you know, of this family, like, after his 5-star recruit brother is murdered in cold blood, he works hard to make both of their dreams come true and become a professional athlete, and he scraps until he's a star. Like, that's me playing Pokemon or just video games in general.
I mean, it really, like, it...
Like, I start the game with my brother gunned down.
It reminded me of those, like, videos. Man, I don't know what to call them. I'm pretty sure that they come from, like, sensitivity training. But
Where the fuck is this going?
No. They're like over the top. They get these actors to act them out. They're like live action things. I see them on TikTok.
Yeah.
All the time. But it's just like, this is a blatant example of racism in the workplace, or this is a blatant example of sexism at home, and like this was a blatant example of fuck Miguel. Straight up signed Game Freak love Pokemon.
Well, what's crazy is it's almost specifically Pokemon, right? Like, there's a couple games here and there. Like, I'll have a couple, like, when I start a new RPG, sometimes, you know, I just get some really unfortunate circumstances, or I'll end up in really unfortunate situations in which, like, a party member is down, but they're the party member I need to actually, like, complete the strategy. It never fails in any of the Pokemon Company's games, with the exception being New Pokemon Snap, and that's it.
Oh my god, they hate you so much.
I was treated exceptionally well in New Pokemon Snap. Now, granted, that might have been because I was on LSD. However,
it was just... Oh my god, no. It's like, legitimately, if we had that footage if we had that footage, it would be used as sensitivity training at Game Freak, specifically for programmers in their next game to not fuck you as bad as they have.
What?
Like,
you want to know the funny? We were toying around with recording it.
we were. We thought about it. I really, really wish we had. The reason that we didn't, and I don't necessarily regret this, was because it was a co-op ROM hack. There were so many technical faults
Yeah.
to the game that it was nigh on impossible to even get it to run. Like, we had to jump through hoops to get it to work. Once it was working, we had to touch nothing. And I mean, we couldn't touch any of the other windows
Yeah.
on the screen. Like, we couldn't tab out into anything. So I was like, I did not trust that we could get recording software up and running to actively record it.
Well, so the other thing as well is it would have felt less genuine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that's really the biggest part of why we didn't do it, is because at that point we were still flirting with the idea of bringing the channel back. Ironically, it took me moving out and like 6 months later for us to actually do it. But part of that was also I was really busy in the gym and at work. Tokyo was really busy with work and his like doctorate program.
Yep.
Like, and also getting fucking engaged before we started that. Like we had priorities that we needed to like actually
Focus
on and prioritize over this fucking burden.
Really strapped his rock to our legs and walked off the bridge.
No, like, okay, don't
15 years ago.
Don't get me wrong. I love this channel. I have put sometimes very literally blood as well as actual sweat and literal tears into this channel.
Mm-hmm.
The commitment is such a burden. So, like, it's a Saturday when we're recording this, right?
Yeah.
Like, Tokyo has a non-traditional work schedule, so he works on Saturdays. He picked me up after I went to the gym. Neither of us want to do this.
No,
we don't.
We're so
we have
tired.
zero commitment. We have zero actual. We don't make any fucking money off this, but we do this for the love of the game.
I mean, it's also, we've said it for a long time, but it's
a video diary.
It's a journal. Like, this channel has captured a lot of moments, not in our lives, but adjacent to it.
Yeah, a snapshot of how our lives were going. Except for like the 3 years we were doing it.
Which honestly is better than a journal, in my opinion, right? Because you get to get snapshots of things that were happening without reliving the active drama of the moment. Like, some of the shit that we've been through in the last 10 years was rough.
I might still be in a relationship.
Like some of it was rough. So to be able to go back and see ourselves playing games, having a good time, and occasionally like offhand mentioning what's going on in our lives puts us on a timeline and reminds us that, like, yes, there was some like shitty shit that was going on, but like we were still able to laugh. We were still able to have a good time.
So what I think is the funniest thing about going back and seeing some of those, especially like the 2018 era of the villains, I like to call that the, you know what? I would call that the golden era of villains.
I would call that the golden era. That was like Cluster Truck.
Like 2017, 2018.
It was like Hollow Knight.
No, Hollow Knight was like 2019.
It was 2019.
Because we played that like half of 2019. But so the reason I like it's specifically interesting going back to like Monster Mon Piece, Stick Fight, stuff around that, getting over it, because at the time I was dating a girl who was going to school at University of Colorado Boulder. So a couple of those a couple of those sessions were literally recorded the night before I went on a plane trip.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like a stick fight specifically.
What?
Getting over it was recorded literally the night before I flew out to Boulder.
What was the crab game?
Crab fight? Fight crab.
Fight crab.
Yeah.
Why were you not there?
Because I was at work.
Oh, you were just at work?
Yeah, so we needed an episode done to go up that day.
I thought you were on like a trip.
No. I was just at work, but you were taking time off at that time.
Yeah.
To not go into it more than that, because we know you're watching, guy. We know you're a big proponent of this channel. Give him his money. So the night prior we had recorded like 5 episodes, the previous session we had recorded like 4 or 5 episodes, but then we ran out of both episodes and time to record the previous night. And you were like, I'll just record something in the afternoon or like in the morning when I wake up and throw it up. Because we were doing that more often. You were making a lot more solo videos.
Yeah.
So I just left a soundboard just because it was like, all right, I'm not going to be here. It'd be kind of a funny bit. And I was watching it on my bus ride from work.
I could have sworn we made that in Vegas.
No, Fight Crab was in Arizona.
I could have sworn we made that in Vegas.
No, so one of my other favorite ones where you were just completely wildly unhinged was... What was that fucking game? The one where you were on an island, like stranded on an island.
Oh, that one you were gone.
So I was working a show.
That's right.
Yeah, I was working on a show and Stranded Deep. Oh, kiss me. I was working lights on a show at that time. So Tokyo would just make an episode and throw it up. And then eventually I came back. And one of my favorite, like, we're actually, like piss fighting over something was... So I pronounced it, I think, yucca, and you were pronouncing it yucca. But then I was like, no, you said yucca. So then... We literally titled an episode "Remember the Yucca." We went back and watched it. That there was no resolution. We had just gone back, and you had said yucca, not yucca. But for like that whole episode and like that whole evening, we were like, we put our whole pussies into fighting on who was right. And then eventually we watch, like, you can go back and watch the episode and it's such like a piss fight. We're like actually just swinging our dicks while pissing at each other. It's the stupidest fucking thing. And it's like, very few times in this channel's existence have we been like actually fighting.
Actually adversarial towards each other, yeah.
But that one was more of like, I'm tired, you're tired, but neither of us want to be wrong. The only one in which, like, we actually had, like, a look of what the fuck was King's Quest, the finale where we cut it in half. So I was like, God, I'm fucking over this.
You were so done.
And the look you gave me of, like, we just need to end the episode. Like, after I said that, you looked at me with, like, I'll kill you, like, in real life. Like, there was so much venom in the look that he gave me, but I was so done that I was like, I cannot do this anymore.
So it was... fuck it, we're gonna go one more minute. So King's Quest was a fucking tragedy of a series, and Miguel wasn't super into it to begin with. I actually really liked...
So I was super into the first episode. First chapter, rather.
I liked the first chapter, and the second chapter I was excited for. Right?
I think it just went on too long.
For one, the game absolutely went on too long. But Miguel had started, I'm going to say, like, dragging his feet into the second chapter of that game.
I want to say it was after, was the jail, or was the getting trapped in the cave one, was that chapter 2 or 3?
That was chapter 2.
Okay, so yeah, it was like partway through that chapter is when I started being like, okay, let's wrap this up.
But it was I knew that there was more game. I didn't know how much more game, because it even went on longer than I had thought. But I knew that there was more game after that, and I was like, okay, at this point, we'll just rush through it. I'll put in extra effort, try and make it a good series. I wanted to finish the series. We were really on, like, a finishing games
we had a fucking boner for completing games.
And we had started it. We were already, like, 14 episodes in, and I was like, okay, I'll just put in the extra effort, right? And as the series goes on, Miguel's level of effort in it just goes down and down and down.
With each new chapter, I was like, I cannot believe this series is still going.
And at a certain point, I hit my cap. I hit my cap of energy. And that was when the venomous look that he's looking at, like, we were actively so close to the end of the game in that moment.
There was still about another hour left.
Just about another hour. But we were so close. And I had been pushing so fucking hard to get it. And he had checked out.
Like 30 episodes
a while ago. So for him to, like, drop it again and just be like, I'm just fucking done. Like, I'm just over with it. I wanted to fucking explode. I wanted to be like, I'm done. Oh my god, I was so done.
So this is how I knew you were also super fucking done, was because I was like, I can't do, like, let's just stop the episode. Like, I can't do this. You were like, okay, fine. Like, it was just so genuine of, like, if I could call you a slur, I would. Like,
I didn't.
Like, it was very much, if I actually had that hate in my heart, you would experience it.
Like, I knew that if I tried to fight to get that episode done,
it might have been the end of the channel.
Yeah, like, I was absolutely, like, ready to explode. Because I wanted it to be done, too. I wanted it over. And I just wanted to push through and get to the end. It really felt like I was pulling a cart and you were in the cart being like, I don't want to go any further.
So, I'm tired. Stop moving.
And being like, what?
So,
I know that wasn't actually what it was. That's just the feeling of it.
So, I actually think that might have been, that moment was the biggest turning point of the channel, because that's when we were, as a group, more open to being like,
not feeling it.
Yeah, like, we'll drop it here. We got as much content as we got out of it, and it was more of like it became, so the way the channel started was I was unemployed, so, like, doing the logistics and the background of the channel was my responsibility, because Tokyo didn't have the time, just straight up.
Yeah, I would. We would record on weekends. I would work all week.
Yeah.
Miguel would do the editing and the uploading and the descriptions, normally during the week. Sometimes he would knock it out all in one go, but, like, he would kind of have the time for that. We would get up on Saturday morning at, like,
usually Sundays.
Usually Sundays, too. But we would get up at, like, 7 a.m.
Yeah, we would go get energy drinks, get breakfast, and we would knock out, like...
And we would just...
14... We would knock out the whole week. And I would be, we would finish usually, like, late afternoon, early evening, and then I would usually be, like, rendering, editing, proofing, uploading from, like, midnight to, like, 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah. But to talk about the turning point in the channel, to get back,
like, it became infinitely more, like, collaborative, like, because in the early points, like, Tokyo's primary responsibility of the channel was performing.
It was performing and occasionally doing edits.
Like, but that came more when we moved to Arizona. But like in those early when we were still in Vegas, it really was like no, your sole responsibility, because the only thing you had time for was performing. But like King's Quest came when we had like, it was early living in Arizona, and you had even less time.
Oh yeah.
Because you were just starting in your work there when we got there.
Yeah, I was starting my new position.
But then that turning point is when it became like, okay, this isn't specific responsibilities anymore. We have to actively both be into this to continue, because neither of us have time for this anymore.
And there's a couple series where that kind of comes through and showcases itself. Mechromancer was one.
Yeah, that one.
Miguel really wanted to do Mechromancer, and I just could not get my boner up for it, dude. Like
there was Shut Up and Jam Gaiden. We got 7 episodes out of that. That one we stopped mostly because you were just like, I don't get it. I don't get the jokes being made.
I really didn't get it. It made me feel real stupid.
Well, so it was a combination of basketball and just brain rot.
Yeah.
So like neither things that you're very well versed in.
It just went a little bit over my head on a bunch of stuff.
But like those are the two glaring ones in which we were just like, nope.
And those were both me. I shut both of those.
So one of the ones that both of us were like, nope, was Panzermädels. But that's just because we were both just like, this game is steering into dangerous territory.
Yeah.
And like neither of us want to be responsible for that.
We also noped out of
Mirror.
We noped out of Mirror, and we noped out of Cyber Crush.
So we noped out of Cyber Crush off the channel.
Yes.
Because we were planning on going back to it because we were enjoying it, but you kept playing it and you were like, this is going. You were like, it's worse than Mirror.
It was.
And then that's when I was like, okay.
Like, and Mirror was bad.
Bad.
Mirror was bad. There was stuff on there that like just really can't be on YouTube. I mean, it really shouldn't be on the internet, period. Like I do think that we need to try those developers for their crimes, but Cyber Crush,
along with the Pokemon company,
Cyber Crush was by and large had some of the most disturbing content that I have encountered in a game. And it wasn't visual, it was just the idea. It was just the idea portrayed through the text on the screen.
Is like, it was disturbing.
Was disturbing to me. And I have a pretty strong iron gut for disturbing shit. So, like, it's one of those things, if we didn't have some absolutely banger fucking jokes,
like, we couldn't have.
I would honestly want to remove those videos from the channel simply because I don't want to give that game any fucking attention. Like, I don't want anyone to see us playing it and be like, oh, this is fun, I should try that. No.
And then end up in therapy.
Dude, it's disturbing.
So, this has gone on. You said 1 minute and it's been 8.
It has been...
So,
yeah.
We're going to be doing a few of these, so you'll catch us again this Friday. So I want to leave you all with something that I just really want you to ponder and consider for the rest of your week. Sounding.
Why?
Consider it.
No, why?
That's for them to consider.
Why?
I mean, I'm not into it, but they might be.
What?
Or they don't know they're into it, and now they're going to look it up.
You're
and be
putting
like,
this burden upon their shoulders.
Yeah, just like this burden of this channel, we put onto our own shoulders. So now this is my curse to you.
You fucking psycho!
Google sounding.
No!
Go to images, turn off safe search, and search sounding, and then report back in the comments once you've done it, and I'll pay for your therapy. You're not my son.
Like, I'm going to put a little disclaimer here just for the sake of the villain's brand. I'm not going to kink shame anybody for what they're into.
Unless you're into vor.
Yeah. Bad. Anyway, we'll see you next time.